Welcome once again to a review of the book, The Evolving Analyst, and I have one of the book writers with me here today, and that is Esta Lessing. And Esta Lessing's, the name of her article in the book is called The Analyst's New Wardrobe, and it's in the section of the book called Artificial Intelligence. And Esta Lessing is a BA trainer for Business Analysis Excellence. And in her article, she explores how resilience, how adaptability have sort of become essential capabilities for the modern BA. And what I really like is how she highlights that constant change, constant uncertainty, the pressures that we feel as analysts to develop this emotional intelligence, this reflective practice is so vitally important. So thank you for joining us today, Esta.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're very welcome. I have a few questions for you, so let's begin with them off the bat here. And
Right.
looking at your story
Yeah.
in the book, The Analyst's New Wardrobe, I really like how you've laid out this wardrobe. So what does this new wardrobe really represent?
Yes. So look, I'm quite a fan of metaphors, as you can imagine, by looking at that title. So what the wardrobe actually represents is that the AI world, as you know, is already changing a lot of how we do our jobs as business analysts. And the article that I included in your book there is basically just trying to say that there's some new skills or categories actually of skills that we as business analysts need to embrace. Because we can't really use our old wardrobe to try and deal with this new world. So, we really need to refresh our thinking and reassess where we can add the most value. And that's where I've identified the 6 hats, as it were, that we should now start to learn to wear and to adjust all of our skills aligned with those hats.
So looking at the wardrobe, looking at the wardrobe that we need to wear, which AI skill do you think a BA should really sort of learn first, and why?
That is such a good question. I had a look at all those hats again, and it was really hard for me to pull just one skill out. However, I did find one, and I did decide that it must be the value analyst hat or skill. And what the value analyst hat is all about is, whilst I know that as business analysts, we've been adding value for many, many years to projects, and we will continue to do so. But I think these days, it's because of the fact that AI is happening so fast. A lot of what we have had to do in the past is now automated. It's a good time for us to make use of that spare capacity almost by adding value in questioning why we are doing certain initiatives and stepping up and being proactive as solution providers, rather than waiting for people to potentially, kind of just give us documentation work to do, as it were. So it's all about it kind of links in with the mindset hat. You need to have that value hat on and always look at how can I add most value in this particular scenario, whatever that might be, more than you've done ever before. So that's the one hat. And once you've done that, it's inevitable that all the other hats will fall in place, because you need all 6 of those hats to become future ready as a business analyst, in my view.
I like that. Interesting. So one big thing I think analysts and many analysts, many data analysts, many business analysts fear is, one thing that BAs and data analysts have is this fear of change. And so what do you think one fear about AI is that BAs should be aware of, and why?
Yeah, look, I think all of us, we're probably finding this change a little bit scary. And if we're not, I think you may not have thought about it a lot because it is scary, and it's a massive change for not just us as business analysts, but obviously all of our colleagues, all our stakeholders, everyone is affected. But I think what you should do as a business analyst, because we're the change agents, we are the ones that support our stakeholders. It's our role now to step up and turn that fear into curiosity. I really recommend that when you start getting a bit stressed or a bit scared of what might be asked of you, or you might feel threatened, your role might be affected, just turn it around and say, I'm curious, how can I turn artificial intelligence to help me rather than hinder me? And I know it's not always that easy, but if we can remember, the reason you're a business analyst in the first place is because you've got a strong sense of curiosity. So I think that would be my advice, and that's what I certainly try and do when I listen to the latest AI podcast that's basically saying the whole world is changing at a pace we can't keep up. I just remember, turn that around and try and be curious.
So it's all about making this sort of a personal resilience. That's the core skill, the core professional skill, to be resilient to change,
Yeah.
be flexible, staying grounded, to make sure you're not falling to the left or right, being thoughtful of those around you and the stakeholders who are also changing with AI.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yes,
Yeah.
and you will see that, when people read the book, they will see that there is an explanation around mindfulness too. And I think, as well as change analysis or the change analyst hat, and those things speak to what you've just said. We need to be mindful of what's going on with ourselves and with the people around us, as well as be the ones to take the hands of our stakeholders and our peers and help guide them through this change. Because there's lots of other opportunities that's emerging every day. And if you're embracing AI and you are really curious and you are, mindful, calm, and just seeing it as a big opportunity, I think the world is really your oyster in the future. But don't ignore AI. You need to pay attention.
Yeah, I think for us to make that sustainable impact, we really need to know how to respond to change. And if we're not responding to change, then being an analyst we might become extinct. Yeah, might be overrun by someone else who can do the job better than us.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thanks for appearing on the show, and I appreciate your time. And I know you've been on the Inquisitive Analyst once before, quite a few years ago, and so it's a pleasure to have you back once again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been really enjoyable, and well done with this book. I think it's a really great contribution for everybody out there to get their head around the whole evolving analyst in this day and age. Thanks a lot for that,
definitely.
Marcus.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. Have yourself a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.